Okay, I think we'll start, and everyone will come as he can. So I'm going to start with some greetings and with some presentation. So today we meet at the annual Student Guide Conference, and our session will. Our session's topic is human resources management and sustainable development. My name is Irina Shanaeva, and I'm head of sustainable communications in Sustainability Consulting Group. And we have also marvelous experts today. For example, Anna from Second Breath Foundation, one of my favorite non-profit organizations. And also we have Kirill from All Good Agency here, who is also a student and will have an opportunity to see his perspective, not only like a professional in sustainability, but also as a student who's taking first steps in his career. And we'll also have Vladlen Zamorsky, I hope, my dear friend and expert from Dentsu, Russia. So our purpose today is not only, Vladlen is here, okay, that's great. So our aim today is not only to hear our presentations, but also to have a dialogue. And I think we'll see some opinions and points of view from young professionals, from students, and we will have an opportunity to ask them questions. And my point is that everyone speaks up and gives the questions, their opinions, and takes activity in our session today. So, okay, I hope we're here, everyone is here, and I'll start with some introductory word. We are speaking today about human resources management and sustainability, and I think my opinion is that human resources management was one of the greatest drivers for sustainability development. As you can see from this slide, the global statistics says that the new generations, millennials and homelanders, require sustainability from their employers, and they want and they need some purposes, and they want to take action in a sustainable development within the companies. And the talent professionals also say that sustainability helps to make greater results in the company, and that, for example, the employee turnover decreases in sustainable companies, and the employee engagement increases, and that diversified commons have greater results and greater profits. And as for the main pillars in sustainable human resources management, those are diversity and inclusion, of course, work-life balance, mental health, that became more popular, especially after the COVID-19 crisis, when everyone had to re-estimate his own values, his own conditions, his own stress balance. Fair payment, of course, and my favorite part, purpose, engagement, and volunteerism, that also give great results and greater profits. Here we can see that these pillars give companies, sustainable companies, great competitive advantages. As I've already said, companies gain better profits because diversified commons and companies where employees are satisfied with their work, with their work-life balance, when they're satisfied and have that word well-being. I don't like it very much, but it is popular in human resources management nowadays, and especially the young generation that find extra purposes in their work, that may take actions and may have that feeling of an align with their own values. They have higher motivation, higher innovation, and as I've already said, the reduced employee turnover, and the companies have a variety of different perspectives and increased creativity. And so I think that this competitive advantage really is worth those steps that companies take in sustainability, not only because of their own profits, but also because of their people who want to live in a world that they are building with their own hands, with their own work. And today we'll see how sustainability becomes a new driver for changes in companies, not only in business processes, but also in business models. And I think Anna will tell us more about that. And also sustainability is a driver for change in marketing. And I think Vladlen will tell us some words about that aspect also. So now I want to pass the baton to Vladlen. Please, will you tell us some interesting trends in marketing?
Hi, dear colleagues. Thanks for having me. Irina, thanks for introduction and for this awesome intro. I would like to ask you to allow me to share my display so that I could translate my slides.
I was on mute. I'm afraid I don't have such a possibility, so
I think
maybe someone can help us with this.
I think it works.
Okay, great.
Let me know, please.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, my name is Vladlen Zamorsky. I'm PhD in social philosophy. I'm sustainability group head in Dentsu Russia, and I'm also product lead in Beta crowdsourcing platform, also part of Dentsu Russia. And I want to speak today about sustainability marketing and business strategies yesterday and today. Well, first of all, I would like to talk about dynamic for change in sustainability, and here we see three main dimensions. It's about government and state, it's about business and brands, and that's of course about people. And as far as I said, the figure is reversed, but people first. Speaking of sustainability development in general, and in terms of HR, we speak of people. Because people vote, people demand and prefer to consume sustainable products from meaningful brands. People create values, people create ideas, products, and profits. And moreover, people define how it's all made. And people want to respond. We know that nearly half of respondents globally believe that every decision they make in their ordinary lives has an impact on environment. 35% say that they're choosing brands based on their sustainability credentials. And the pandemic also influenced on this topic. Consumers want to respond individually and collectively to climate and food-based change and want to make it in a way that will make a difference. So it's a very, very important issue. Moreover, people demand such values from brands. Sustainability transfers from nice to have to must have. People globally believe that brands should take into account values and what customers demand. And the main demand is an environmental issue. Then we could speak about values and other themes connected with consumer support, consumer services, and humanitarian values. So in this mixture, in this crossfade of demands and audience growth, because of audience becoming more sustainable, the sustainability paradigm is shifting from niche segmented shifts to multi-stakeholder, from do no harm, it shifts to do real good. Recently it was peripheral, and now it's moved to the core of business, and from cost of doing business it becomes some kind of growth strategy. And 20, maybe 30 years ago, it was small disruptors, and today we have big transformers instead. Also, ESG and sustainable development affect KPIs. We have data from global research, and we know that most responsible brands have two times better KPIs on purchase intent from non-clients. On repurchase intent, it's secondary purchase, on advocacy, and on willing to pay premium price for the good or service that is connected and produced by meaningful brand or brand with purpose. I want to point it again, these KPIs are 2 times better than from least responsible brands. And that's why brands do a lot of communications on this field. They do a lot of business transformation processes. But there is a question, and what happens with brands that do nothing? Here I want to share the quote of Daniel Bell. It is a great scientist and the author of post-industrial society concept. He said that seeing the corporation only as an economic tool means complete misunderstanding of the significance of social change over the past half century. Today we are in the beginning of 21st century, so this quote is even more actual. Sorry. Yes, and I want to articulate what happens with brands that do nothing. And here we have very important and significant statement that even inaction is a type of action. Thanks for this quote, Irina. The direct impact of future revenue losses due to the trust events is conservatively estimates at $180 billion for more than 7,000 companies all over the world. And 1/3 of all consumers today will stop buying their preferred products if they lost trust in the brand. And 1/3 of consumers have already stopped purchasing their favorite brands in pandemic years. And talking about the youth, about young people, this issue is even more actual. 77% of young people stop buying or will stop buying from brands that do not match with their values and with their attitudes to sustainability. So the main conclusion from this point is that business must balance profits and purpose. Then I want to move from global data, from global trends to the Russian trends that we researched by the means of our own data scientists. We researched a lot of data from media spends of all Russian advertisers since 2018. And today we know that from 1 to 3% of the global total media budgets, advertisers spend to support their sustainable development projects. This is amazing because we know that after this estimation, some brands before the crisis stated that they want to even increase their budgets up to 5% from the total media budgets. And for many of them, it is not actual now, unfortunately, because of the crisis, but I want to articulate that even in first half of 2021, brands spent over over 650 million rubles to support their sustainability projects. So this data shows us that Russian market knows a lot about sustainable marketing. They support their initiatives, and this trend is growing from year to year. And a little bit further, we'll talk about common situation in this field. So also I want to talk about what Russian brands claims in their sustainability campaigns. So this data we get from our colleagues from KPMG and from EFI Russia. They collected this data from campaigns that participated in EFI Russia Awards in Positive Change nomination. And here you can see that most brands want to drive social and behavior change. A little bit more brands raising awareness on some projects, on some social and environmental issues. It's what we call visibility. The third one from top three is solving an urgent external social or environmental problem. For example, issues connected with the pandemic, or issues connected with today common situation connected with brands exodus. And less popular directions are connected with changing preferences in favor of responsible goods and services, empowering population or promoting vulnerable population or promoting equality. And the less popular direction is development of local communities or territories in the region of presence. And this point is very important here, because the actual crisis that we have in Russian sustainability via brands is that the lack of localization. A lack of that attention that we have to pay to local initiatives and support in local communities. Then I would like to show you some summary of best practices in sustainability marketing communications. It's some kind of resume. And here we have 5 things to follow and 5 things to avoid. Let's start from good ones. And the first is think globally and act locally. I especially articulate your attention on act locally. Then the third one is direction that you should plan and act in long term. You should plan and act consistently, and definitely brands should prioritize goals and measure impact. It's pretty important, because not every brand really even measure impact. They aim to the marketing goals, to business goals, to PR value, not an impact. It's not very good. And also we recommend
let's tell that we are speaking now about social impact. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking of impact, we mean positive social or environmental, ecological changes. And last but not least, we recommend to collaborate even with competitors, with the third sector, with social entrepreneurs. And this recommendation is here because we see and we know that not big part of brands really collaborate. They don't really often communicate with non-profits, and it's not very good, because non-profits hold huge knowledge and huge expertise. Then I want to talk about 5 things to avoid. Definitely, it is greenwashing. It's a taboo, and it is something that pulls us back from year to year. Then I want to articulate CSR and cross-washing. It's something like greenwashing, but in the field of social responsibility, in field of diversity and inclusion, and other issues not connected with green, eco, and environmental topics. Then we strongly do not recommend to abuse negative emotional messages, linking sustainability with premium, and sacrificing quality and price in order to make a sustainable project. So this is basics, and every project is different. For every brand, you should and you have developed strategies, and these strategies should consider also, as I have already said, impact, social and environmental impact. Then I would like to move to the crisis. I think it is one of the most important topics
2 minutes
today.
left.
Okay, I'll do it a little bit faster. Over more than 400 brands has already stopped their operations in Russia. Most of them also stopped their partners projects with nonprofits and social entrepreneurs. And it is a crisis. It's definitely a crisis. Lots of people have already lost their jobs, and NGOs, nonprofits lost a lot of money from donations. And the actual crisis is showing how fragile and unstable our world, despite all efforts we've made on the way to sustainable future. But does it mean that sustainability doesn't work? Does it mean that sustainability is just a beautiful concept that is nice to have for business to attract and hold back consumers, employees, cheat money by the means of responsible investment? Large no. Definitely sustainable development benefits all stakeholders in the people, planet, profit triads. It's also a universal language for continuing international dialogue, and I want to support it by the data we have recently got by our media analytics. Despite the crisis, people demand for support, information, help, and crisis response. And some brands react. You might notice the recent communication of McDonald's, who said that he's still supporting the Ronald McDonald Fund, and then they now they're supporting their volunteering communities. So some brands react to their sustainability initiatives and consumer support. It multiplies their credibility, works for trust, loyalty, and therefore sales and market share. Our research shows that the trend towards media support for sustainability marketing continued to grow. Even in Q1, TV spent in the category increased by 8% compared to Q1 2021. The trend towards increased activity is observed among brands. Their share in category is rise to 40% against 27% in Q1. Sorry. In March 2024, there was a drop in the TV market, which was primarily due to the suspension of advertising campaigns, but media support of social and environmental communications showed an increase of 11% to February, even growth. If we talk about the topic of communication within the framework of sustainability marketing in 2022, today, the main place is still occupied by the environmental agenda. More than the third of all brand spends is the first quarter of 2022, and anti-crisis business communications today accounts for 25% of all media spends. Here we could show, for example, cases of Avita, Beeline, and other Russian brands that declared that they are still here, they support their consumers, and we call it anti-crisis communication. Moreover, the number of Russians who have stopped using plastic dishes altogether is 21%. It's more than in 2090, and at the same time, 33% of people in Moscow are already sorting waste, even in crisis. So this issue is not about to decrease, it's even rising. So we only have a crisis that pushes us to rethink the significant meaning of sustainable future, and our approach to sustainability in every dimension, from supply chains, manufacturing processes, to logistics and HR and communications. We have to deepen our understanding of this concept, all relevant categories, and how we achieve and measure the impact. That's why we need more educational programs, conversations, conferences, and methodology. For example, we need to explain business the difference between sustainability and ESG, and the substitution of this concept could lead to the crash of many useful programs. We also need to pay more attention to localization, as I have already said. It's one of the most fundamental basics of sustainable development. And for brands, they need to invest more in sustainability and sustainable marketing. And last but not least, people before profits. I want to say that you are the future. Your behavior and choices affects the people around you, friends, family, neighbors. How it is all connected with HR. Every one of you is already or will be an employee or business owner. Please become an ambassador of sustainability also on your workplace. Take an initiative, a demand for positive change in processes, products, and corporate culture. Donate your time as a volunteers. Want to do more? Join our skill-based volunteering team. Here you can see QR code, and I provide you a presentation. Want to read more? Here you can download our white paper dedicated to the sustainability and to sustainable marketing in Russia. It is a guide of marketers. Also, I recommend you a book of Rebecca Henderson called Reimagining Capitalism in a World on Fire. So take care and good luck. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Vladlen. I want to emphasize some things that you've already said. So just to draw more attention to those people before profits, that's a great call to action. I think that we should take as an industry and just hold it tight. And I also want to thank you for emphasizing the difference between sustainability and ESG, because I think many of the listeners have already heard both terms, and it's so pity that not all the experts also always use the terms right. So there is a difference, and I think we should. And we are speaking about sustainable development today, and there will be some students speaking about ESG also. And I hope we'll see the difference between sustainability and the financial ESG term. So I think that we can ask if any of the students have any questions to you or any comments. I don't see any hands, but still, if anyone has any questions, please take your time to ask them. And now I want to pass the button to Anna. Anna will tell us about marvelous project that, as far as I remember, was once a small startup, a social entrepreneur that was begun with a social entrepreneur, and then it became a great project that is developing the unique infrastructure in Russia for one of the most how shall I say it? The waste management, yes, system that is not operated by anyone in Russia except this small project that was once small and now has become such a great foundation even. So Anna, will you please tell us how charity shops became one of the most important foundations in our country?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Irina, nice to meet you all. Thank you very much for the presentation before me. It was very interesting, really nice. I enjoyed every minute of it. I want to talk about charity shops since I'm a manager director of all 4 charity shops that are situated in Moscow right now. And I am a first employee that was hired in 2014 before this whole thing began. First, I want to say that charity shops is a socio-ecological, unique enterprise. It's a startup, and it was a startup, and it's still shops. I work in shops, so we talk about profits, we talk about money, and we're making money for a foundation that actually was built a year after we opened our first shop, a year after everything that we wanted to do, everything that we planned to do. And it's very interesting now talking about sustainability and growth in HR, because you see, people do change industry. I watched it myself, and I'm sorry I don't have a presentation because I cannot fit all the 7 years of my experience and everything about our foundation and our shops and our work in 5 minutes of presentation. It would be too much and maybe not very useful to my listeners. So I would work globally and talk more globally on how we started up in underground shop, a startup with 2 people painting the walls and thinking of how in America and in England for 100 years they use this good resource garment clothing, and they give it a second life, because our foundation is called the Second Wind, actually. Yeah, it's a Second Wind, Второе Дыхание charity shop. That's the name of our shops. And how for 100 years in abroad, there's already been built the huge industry that helps clothes and helps people with clothes, so to speak. And how clothes that we're kind of discard, that we throw away, it decomposes on outside, it infects our greenhouse effect, and etc. How it can help many people. To cut a long story short, all I want to say is that mostly what we do is our foundation collects clothes in Russia, all the garments, clothes, books, bags, accessories, and some of textile. Our foundation sorts it on different sorts. One of them is obviously is charity. We give clothes out for charity, and we help many people. It's about 14,000 people per month that receive our clothes. Sometimes less, sometimes more, because yeah, people are not usually something you can count that is going to stay the same. Some months people request more clothes, some months people request less clothes. So obviously the high season for all of this is before winter and before summer. As you can see, for winter, people need more clothes. They need to be better. They need to be clothed well, because it's going to be cold. Another very important, I guess, and very, so to speak, relevant to the chapter is our recycle program. And in 2014, I can tell you for sure that we weren't even thinking about recycling anything, and we weren't thinking about recycling altogether. We started to think about it in 2015. That's how our NGO started to develop, is when we realized when you say charity, people understand it very differently. And a lot of clothes that we received, we couldn't give out or sell, and we needed to do something else with it. Something else and throw it away is not exactly what we wanted, because it went really like the opposite direction of what we wanted to do with the project, because we said it's ecological, it's socially ecological project. We wanted to help people, but we definitely didn't want to throw away and let's do something opposite and helping our planet or a country. And so we decided to do the research on recycling. And in 2015, also that's happened. I can tell you all the truth. That didn't happen straight away. Our first product that we actually made from recycling the clothes that been collected was made in 2019, I think, or 2018. It was a case for a laptop made of used clothes that's been collected during these years in our shop. Mostly clothes is being recycled into something that you wash your machines with on a textile basis, and etc. Some textiles absorb better, some textiles absorb less. That's why it's very useful to recycle it like that. Now, my personal pride is that our foundation, actually, that we did another company that's gonna deal with all the recycle issues, textile that we collect. So we're gonna grow better, more thoughtful, and we're gonna do more. Is that in 2020? Yes, in 2020 November, I remember as now we made a first pen made of textile that's 100% polyester. We can go back to how this sustainability and everything work. When you think about sustainable clothing, you should think, or a sustainable textile, you should think about not, it should be something made of something one, like 100% polyester, 100% cotton, 100% viscose, and etc. So when you think about ecological textile, it shouldn't be more composable. It shouldn't be made out of many composed textile because it's very hard to recycle composed textile. And obviously, my favorite one, last but not least, because we have a very little amount of money, is charity shops as shops. Is a second-hand shop which on during the last 7.5 years, we support our NGO on a every month basis. 20% of all the money that we actually gain goes to our foundation, and that's how our foundation can be sustainable in a sense of thinking to the future. Our foundation always knows how much money they're gonna get, on what they can rely on what they can spend. They can plan projects, and as my previous colleague was saying, think to the future, plan the strategy of how to make a positive effect on our country. We do the strategy sessions, and obviously we hire only people that are interested into changing the world and interested in textile. Our shop is very popular. I presume it's very popular. I think it's very popular. It's because we connect many things, and it's not only sustainability and the growth that we didn't close during the crisis of COVID. We didn't close during this crisis that we talked about right now, because for example, I can tell the truth to my followers, my listeners right now, is that our biggest, how to say, the company that we worked with, the biggest colleague, the biggest helper was Inditex and Uniqlo, and they both left Russia. So we are building a new connections, new strategies, but thanks to everyone, and especially the people that come to our shop and buy second-hand clothes. So they don't go to these big companies and spend money. They come to us, and they give a second life to clothes and support our NGO at the same time. So why I think that our project is very popular is because we connect the idea of sustainability, that we grow and we show the good line of growth, and that we don't close during the hard times. And plus, we have a very interesting inside atmosphere, that we support all the ecological ideas. For example, all our price tags are made of Tetra Pak. We write with pens that made of textile. We don't throw bags away. We give them out to recycle. So it's not only about textile recycle. It's also about being conscious. And I think that charity shop's most biggest role in all of this in Moscow, for example, is to raise awareness of the situation that's happening right now, raise awareness of how overconsumption affects the world, and obviously help our NGO to recycle and give away the clothes that some people don't need. It's amazingly surprising how we have so much clothes we don't need. I don't know how to say it, because in 2014 when I came, I thought that nobody gonna give out clothes. I mean, really giving out clothes that you can wear? What are you talking about? Really?
Especially
no, I don't
girls?
think so. Especially girls? No, I'm gonna donate my the dress that I went to my first date with my loved one. No way, it's memory. But actually, people have so much clothes they don't need. It's amazingly surprising, and it still surprised me by now. But I'm kind of, yeah, after 8 years, the shock is less and less, because you realize that it's not only clothes that people don't need. So many other things that are really, really not needed somewhere and very much needed somewhere else. So sharing is caring, as I always used to say, love to say, sharing is caring. And since we have this huge role, we have this huge role. Every single person that I hire, I make sure they know what role they play, because it's popularizing the idea of ecology and conscious buying. It's also the atmosphere inside that you're free to wear what you want. You don't have to follow the role. You don't have to follow everyone. You are free to choose and decide what you want. You want to be sustainable, you go there. Every single person that comes to our shop, we spend time on explaining that you don't want to donate your clothes here. Okay, we have another hundreds and thousand foundations that you can donate um, to elders, to single moms, to homeless people, to other volunteers, whatever you want. Anyways.
Yes, Anna, thank you so much. I think we'll have a question from the audience. If anyone has any questions, please take your time, and because your speech is so emotional and so sincere, I think it could have some some questions from our students. But as for me, my question is, if anyone of our young professionals has a dream to become a social entrepreneur, what wishes do you have for them, or maybe what advice do you have for them how to become sustainable and financially sustainable organization, doing something good for this world and for this planet?
Well, obviously, the first advice is never to give up. Never to give up. But professionally wise, is networking is everything. Collaboration is everything. And the support right now is ESG and sustainability, ecology. Yes, okay, it's popular, but it's popular because we build the community that was interested in that, and we give the community this. So networking and building your own community, your followers, that's what's more important, and very it works. That's what I would say. It works. You're building your community, your followers, and they will always sustain your project. No matter what you do ecologically wise, you have to have followers that will support. And with the charity foundation wise, you have to have volunteers that will always support you, because in last 8 years, you can see, all of you can see that we had ups and downs. And if it wouldn't be for the people that actually follow you on social media, help you build something, help you move something, you always start alone, and you're always going to be the only one who is the mostly interested in your project. Don't think that you're going to how do you call it, influence everyone. Don't think that somebody else would care more about your project than you. But you have to have a work-life balance, you have to have followers and helpers, and you have to have a good healthy relationship with yourself, because otherwise you burn out, and that's it. And if you cannot move your project forward, nobody else will.
No one will. Yeah, thank you for the thought. It is very important because we, as a sustainability consulting group, always say that sustainability starts with yourself. Yes, and you have to be sustainable yourself to move your sustainable project. And our audience, there is a question from our audience, from Anna, but I think you have partly answered the questions. Nevertheless, the question is, what benefits did your organization get from partnership with mass market companies?
The benefit is, well, firstly, I assume and I presume, because I wasn't the one partnering with them, is the spread of. Inditex and Uniqlo had in every single shop of theirs our container that collects clothes. And no, it doesn't mean we regain more tons and tons of clothes that we do now, because actually we receive a lot of clothes on a daily basis. It's about 100 tons per month, 100 tons per month. So it's 12,000 1,200 tons per year that we receive the amount of clothes. But it helped us spread the word across, because both of these huge companies, huge group of companies, have a lot of shops in different towns. And sometimes when you start from somewhere, and when you're a not very big organization, even if you have 100 employees, I mean, how many towns, cities, and how many projects can 100 employees actually move, especially when it's something that actually present in the world, continues being damaged, continues need to have logistics around them, and people have to talk to people at the places. It's a lot about the actually developing the locally developing the community. So mostly it helped us to spread the idea of collecting clothes and recycling. And for example, we opened a shop in Kazan and closed it down. And we also had a container there, and we just gave it to other projects. So we kind of raised awareness. We improved the community, and community became on its own. Now it's working on its own, collecting clothes, recycling, and giving it away there. So it's about improving the community, really. But
yes, Anna, thank you so much. I think we should move on. Yeah. We are out of time. Okay, and I'm going to pass the word to our next expert, and also a student that is of a great interest for our session. I think Kirill, please take your time, and I will help you to operate the presentation.
Okay, I can't I can demonstrate the screen. Am I right?
I am demonstrating your own presentation, so you can just.
Okay. So hello, dear colleagues. I am happy to greet you. Thank you for invitation. My name is Kirill. Next slide, please. I'm the HR manager of the eco-friendly agency All Good. Yeah. Can you please turn the next slide? Because I can see if you.
You can see only this one. Okay, then we'll do it like this.
Oh, now I can. Now I can see. No, you can turn the next slide. Yes. So our mission is to make business friends with nature. The agency optimizes the consumption of resources in the companies, introduces paperless office, separate waste collection, green purchasing, clean manufacturing, is engaging in research and methodological developments. And as you can see on the first slide, I'm also as a student of the third year of St. Petersburg State University in the field of human resource management. And today I would like to talk about sustainability. Yeah, I guess you all know about the goals of the sustainable development. They are based on business, nature, and people. That is economic, environmental, and social factors. I'd like to demonstrate this using our agency as an example, and what competencies can be possessed to participate in sustainability projects. And to begin with, business may need sustainability improvement for several reasons. They really want to help nature work more sustainably. They want to work in a more socially responsible way, taking care of employees or taking care of people in the world. For example, doing some kind of social charity. Or they want additional commercial success. For example, it can be used on the marketing side, that is to increase reputation, increase brand loyalty, or the introduction of sustainable technology can be done to save money. For example, delivery of recyclable materials can provide the company with additional profit. And accordingly, people who have training in each of these areas, next slide please, can also lead sustainability projects. For example, they can be environmentalists, for example, studying environmental management. These can be people from social sciences, for example, sociologists, HR specialists. Also, we can single out marketing and PR experts because they are at the area between people and business. And as in any other area, their skills will be in demand. Also, it can be people from the side of the economy, that is from the fields of management and economics. Their skills are also necessary to make project work for a particular company. There are now a lot of training programs for sustainability managers, moreover, full-fledged educational programs or short courses. And basically, ecologists need the following skills: calculating the ecological footprint, and also we need to understand the impact of various factors of the organization's work on nature and be able to analyze information and make the right conclusions from it and provide the right solutions for business. Next slide, please. At our agency, we grow sustainability professionals with the help of such a concept as an eco-friendly agent. You can see what is this concept on the slide. I won't stop here. You can maybe make a screenshot if you want and read it by yourself. So next slide, please. Also, I would like to remind you, dear colleagues, of the importance of developing your competencies. Do not forget it. Despite the difficulties you have to understand what you're going for and not be afraid. Again, on the example of our agency, I can tell you that companies need young professionals, including us, students. As in any other area, it is much easier for the organizations to grow a professional that the company needs than to look for a professional and then retrain him or look at his attempts to retrain everyone else in the company. Also,
that's so right.
Yes. Also, as a student, I can say that professional societies are very important. The sooner you join one or more of them, the sooner you realize what the community or the society needs and what competencies and professionals are in demand. I started as a volunteer myself, and you have no idea how much easier it is to orientate in the field when you always have a team of professionals you can turn to. Once again, I recommend to all of you to choose quickly, but at the same time, consciously, a community of interest and try to join it. You can start getting project experience now and become more in demand in the job market. There are, in fact, many similar volunteer initiatives around. And next slide, please. Moreover, I will be glad to invite you to our agency's internship program. You can do this by scanning the QR code on your screens and writing to our HR manager, Nadezhda. With any questions you may have, also we will be happy to answer your questions, and I would like to underline that as well as we will be happy to share our base of sustainability short courses and look forward to seeing you at our agency. Yes, that's all for me. Thank you.
Kirill, thank you so much, and thank you for emphasizing the importance of the volunteering experience. Indeed, we in our agency also appreciate the volunteering experience because that is the guarantee of some soft skills and even maybe hard skills if we are speaking about pro bono volunteering, for example. Yes. So if there are any questions in our audience, then you have an opportunity to ask them now, and while maybe our experts have any questions to each other while we're expecting for the questions from the audience. Okay, then let's move on. And now we still speak about HR, human resources management, and I'm going to pass the baton to our next speaker, also Kirill Kazakov. Can you hear us?
Yes,
turn on
I'm
your
here.
camera, please. so we can see you.
Sorry, I have some problems with internet connection.
Okay, then. Okay. Then please take your word.
Okay. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The main topic of my presentation is the implementing best share practice in Russian insurance companies. So, some words about me. I'm the first-year graduate student of ABS Shanaeva. I'm the student of a program HR management in the digital time. So, and I'm also the
Kirill. Kirill, we can hear you. I think we have some technical problems with Kirill's presentation. Kirill, can you hear us? Well, then we'll be waiting for you to return to us. And while I'm going to ask our next speakers, Marina and Anastasia, if you are ready to take the button, because we have some problems with Kirill's speech.
Yes, hello, we're ready. And
okay, then
Nastya, are you ready? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, great.
Okay, just a second. Так, okay. Let's share the screen again. Hello.
Hello. Today my colleague Anastasia and I are going to present our research on green public procurement and its best practices. Green public procurement, or GPP, we're going to use this abbreviation in our speech, is a powerful tool providing a strong stimulus for eco-innovation, helping to make a more resource-efficient economy. We are going to describe the essence and benefits of GPP, give illustrative examples for the setting of procurement objectives and best international GPP practices, and also we'll look at the current GPP system in Russia.
Next slide, please. So what is GPP? The European Commission defines GPP as a process whereby public authorities seek to procure goods, services, and works with a reduced environmental impact throughout their life cycle. Abiding by the GPP practices requires procuring products with next slide, please. With greater energy efficiency, utilizing clean energy source of technology, improved recycling ability, minimal packaging needs, and extended durability. And many countries, next slide, please. Many countries have faced obstacles to successfully implementing GPP, including these particular ones, the perception that green products and services may be more expensive than conventional ones, and that public officials lack of technical knowledge on integrating environmental standards in the procurement process. However, countries increasingly recognize that GPP can be a major driver for innovation. And now let's look at the best practices. We've chosen the most illustrative GPP programs in 2 countries.
Okay, so the first program is List for Environmental Labeling Products in China. Chinese GPP documents require all levels of state bodies and institutions to give priority to purchasing environmental labeling products and prohibit them from purchasing any products which harm the environment and human health. The objectives of this program are the following. So the firstly, to actively promote the construction of environmentally friendly society, and secondly, to implement a green policy for government procurement to improve environmental quality. During the 7 years of implementation of the Chinese GPP program from 2013 to 2020, 11 government procurement lists for environmental labeling products have been issued. Public procurement of goods with the energy efficiency labeling reached around 91 billion yuan in 2020, accounting for 82% of products purchased by the government through open competition. And in terms of key lessons learned, we can say that environmental labeling is an effective tool for carrying out GBP, and environmental awareness raising of purchases is one of the driving forces for the development of GBP.
Next slide, please. Marina.
Yes, Irina. So,
already told.
Sorry.
You already told this slide like recently. So.
Okay.
Green policy in vehicles procurement in New Zealand. The GPP policy for motor vehicles is a great example, as it based on 3 pillars of sustainability: environmental, reducing emissions; economic, vehicle maintenance; and social, vehicle safety and driver behavior. Next slide, please. So the main objectives through the implementation of a sustainable GPP project, public administration aims to accelerate the adoption of sustainable practices in public procurement in areas of greatest impact in New Zealand. So within the project, standards, guidelines, and target for GPP have been defined by the category review teams. So the category review team for motor vehicles have developed the standards and reviewed the targets. And the targets were the following: safety rating, so to give priority consideration to vehicles fitted with an electronic stability control system; reducing harmful emissions; renewable fuel, consider the available electric vehicles that utilize renewable electricity; and last one, vehicle maintenance. They had a planned preventative maintenance program in line with the manufacturer's recommendations and specifications for all vehicles in the fleet. Next one, please. So the result was that government of New Zealand has improved values for money from departmental expenses, reduced cost savings, and fostered the development of low carbon technologies, whereas protecting the environment. Next slide, please. Mm-hmm.
And now turning to Russia, in our country, the GBP system is at the stage of intensive formation and development. Considerable interest with development is observed in such cities as Moscow, Sochi, and Novokuznetsk, for instance. And we can say that Russian public authorities are major consumers by using their purchasing power to choose environmentally friendly goods, services, and work. So they make sure that taxpayers' money is used effectively to ensure direct environmental benefits. And we're going to describe one example. It is experience of Russian enterprises that have implemented Type 1 eco-labeling standards. In Russia, it is called the Leaf of Life.
So enterprises that are licensed in Russian eco-label Leaf of Life, they introduce eco-technologies in all major aspects of the impact of production on the environment. So they recycle from 50 to 98% of production waste, depending on the industry. Thus, at the enterprises of the Target, Profine Rus, Splat Global companies, more than 80% of waste is recycled. In addition, the companies purchase product residues from distributors and use them as raw materials. Next slide, please. In conclusion, the benefits of GPP are great, and it reduces the ecological footprint, creates markets for green products, and jobs, and drives eco-innovation and competitiveness.
The foremost recommendation for using the power of public purchasing to foster sustainability is that all countries that do not currently have a GBP program should develop one. Countries that already have GBP programs in place can apply international best practices to improve their current programs. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, ladies, for this beautiful speech. As for me, that is very interesting. And my question is, what best practice would you take as the main one for our country, just to increase the GPP coverage in regions?
Well, personally, I believe that in Russia we can take the practice of lease for environmental labeling products, and this program has been implemented in China. So I believe that by using this list of products, we can increase environmental awareness of purchasers in regions, for instance, and it can be a driving force for the development of GBP in Russia.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Anastasia. Do you have any other opinion, maybe?
Well, I think in Russia, GBP policy should be based on these 3 pillars of sustainability: reducing emissions, vehicle maintenance, and vehicle safety. And I think the main, I agree with Marina, what she said. So I think it's more than possible to implement these practices in Russia.
Okay, thank you. Dear experts, do you have any comments or maybe any questions to our beautiful ladies who are talking about such an important theme? Yes, Anna. Yes, please.
In what regions and apart from vehicles, so would you think that Russian countries should use more GBP? What could develop best and fastest in our country, obviously? Thinking and applying the experience of other countries.
Do you mean what services can apply GGP faster than other public social services?
Yes, what could be implemented faster in our country?
Well, in my opinion, maybe it can be applied to waste, and so we can specify processes or packaging with general less waste, and we can encourage reuse and recycling of materials. Or well, maybe in terms of social public services, we can encourage to use water, use water efficient fittings and choose them.
Okay, thank you. Waste management has to has to deliver to develop faster. We agree. We strongly agree with this idea. Okay, Vladlen or Kirill, do you have any questions to our ladies, or we should move? Okay, no questions. Well, Marina, Anastasia, thank you so much. This is very important and important topic, but not easy to talk about, really, because we have some milestones that make the topic not so easy. But thank you, and I think we should encourage you by some applause just to take and go ahead with your survey. Yes, Kirill Kazakov, will you please tell us if you are here with us again, and if you can? Yes.
Yes, I'm here, and I hope that it is. I don't have any problems with internet connection.
Okay, then let's begin again. Please take your word.
So in Russian tourist companies, managers practice old-fashioned style of human resource management. They use only one-way communication, only financial motivation, some strange and formalistic KPI, and don't practice good education for employees. So they can't introduce something new in the work of insurance companies because they don't practice modern HR management. The next slide, please. We have found some specific methods from India's insurance companies, some good practice in these companies, and analyze where experience can be introduced in Russian companies. However, before this, we must understand that there are some cultural difference between Russia and India. In Russia, power distance is bigger than in India. So our managers don't pay any attention for employees. Our employees prefer group work, not individual work. The next slide, please.
Kirill, we can hear again. Okay, I'm afraid we have some problems again. Okay, then we're still waiting for Kirill again. After our next speaker, Veronica, are you ready to take your word?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yes.
So you will demonstrate, yeah?
Yeah, I will demonstrate. Just a second. Veronica, please begin.
So good afternoon to everyone. My name is Veronica Abba. I'm a fourth-year student of International Business School. And the subject of my speech is Russian ECG agenda in the context of changing economic circumstances. Next slide, please. Maybe, okay, it's okay. Thank you. So my talk will be in three parts. First, I will talk about ECG measurements and how organizations, some agencies, rank commercial companies upon these measurements. Here I will also shortly introduce some some companies which take steps to be more sustainable to comply with these ECG components. Next, I will give an overview of how the crisis could impact the ECG agenda in Russia. And finally, I will show some ways for the first development of the ECG agenda. Yeah, so next slide, please. So let's get down to the topic. On this slide, you may see like ECG. These are criteria which explain a company's impact and added value in 3 areas, such as environmental, social, and governance. On the 3, you may see some of the factors which could be like measured, they could be counted. For example, like percentage of recycled packaging, or like the number of work-related injuries, or the representation of women in the board of directors. And much of companies' counter-agents, for example, in supply chain management, may be also required to comply with ECG risks. So it's also like a measurement. The next slide, please. ECG are the 3 pillars of performance by which different stakeholders may understand whether they should interact with this company or not. So as you may see on the screen on the left, there are some agencies which rate companies upon these factors. So basically, the special attention for ECG comes from investors who more and more frequently consider a company's position in ECG ratings to make a balanced investment decision. So not to only rely on its financial performance, but also see how it may be resilient towards a different kind of long-term risks. So basically, these agencies try to rank companies by this ability to stay resilient. Next slide, please. And on this virtual screen, you may see like an integrated evaluation of some Russian companies. Like this evaluation integrated score was based on rankings from different agencies, which I showed on the previous slide. Basically, all these organizations have different approach. That's why it's better for investors and other stakeholders to review several ratings if they want to make at least like a balanced decision. And for example, oil and gas companies, they actively try to be in these ratings and to become more, let's say, greener. They replace coal-powered energy generation by gas. They also try to distract more gas and to offset the damage they made to like environment by carbon dioxide emissions, by restoring forests. So next slide, please. And here you may see like the explanation why companies are so concerned about incorporating ECG standards into their business operations. Basically, the ECG agenda is stimulated by expectations of different stakeholders, from consumers and suppliers to government bodies. And organizations, especially those who are international, who trade on stock markets, they are really pressured. They are pressured by some like requirements of foreign counterparts from the initiatives, for example, like the initiative from European Union on carbon border adjustment. And also in Russia, we started actively introducing some laws to also regulate primarily emission of fossil fuels. So overall, it's likely that it will be disadvantageous for a company not to comply with some sustainable goals, not to provide like the documents or review on their like compliance with ESG factors. And next slide, please. Here I will talk about the current situation, like how Russian ESG sphere has been affected by sanctions and which risks it's likely to face. So, like the topic of ESG is really acute. It has been really acute, maybe until now, until these hardships which company face. So we may see there are four, like how to say, four spheres. First of all, as foreign investors, they just repelled from Russian companies. So these companies may face lack of funds to just provide, just to implement some of projects they were planning about. So maybe they will be frozen. Secondly, some banks, Russian banks like VTB, like WebRF, and others, they are under sanctions. And basically banks were the drivers, like the main drivers of this green agenda, let's say, because they gave some loans for this implementation of sustainable projects. And now these funds are also not really available. Next, there are maybe challenges in adoption of best practices, also because these foreign companies, they just do not really cooperate so much with Russian organizations now. So we have to find our own way how to develop this ESG sphere. And also it's more acute for like international companies which are traded, which shares are traded on stock, so they may be downgraded in ESG ratings, and so foreign investors will be even more like unwilling to fund these companies. And finally, the final slide is the further development of ESG in Russia, like the possible ways. What will we do? So first of all, it's necessary to focus on national practices and standards to, like, it's somehow an opportunity to see what we really need, not to just copy something from the West but see deeply what our country needs according to its specifics. So to invent its approaches, methods, and practices. And moving on, also the companies, Russian companies, is likely to refocus on Asian markets, specifically to China, because it's also really fast developing market in terms of ESG regulation. Also, funds will be reallocated to like help people sustain, to help workers, not to lay them off. So it will be like more practical experience, not just some projects which show good image, but really practical decisions. And finally, there will be greater significance of social aspects. So the issues of respect of human rights, anti-corruption policy, they will come into the first place. So the government can see that business will support this sphere, and it's also like can be a good contribution to this company. They may show their commitment, and like wrapping up, I may say that despite all difficulties, the current conditions, they are like an opportunity for companies to show their responsibility by continuing to implement social projects that both employees and like local communities really need now. So thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them.
Yes, Veronica, thank you so much. Vladlen, I see your hand, but I'm sorry. I will be the first because I have several questions for Veronica on this topic because we like it so much. First of all, thank you for your optimistic view. I really think you should be the main speaker at all current ESG and sustainability conferences where everyone is depressed and is so pessimistic. So I like your point of view from this side. But my question for you is to quote Mikhail Babenko, who was also the moderator of one of the sections here, as far as I remember. And when ESG was only an uprising trend here in Russia, he told a very interesting phrase that the first companies in ESG ratings in Russia somehow are the most those who have the most bad impact, the most negative impact on the nature. So I want to ask you, what do you think about this this trend, and how comes that?
Like I also thought about this question. Thank you for your question. I may just maybe explain it by the fact that these companies, like they how to say, by nature, they are really damaging to a nature. Like we may compare it to a communication company with oil and gas company. It's obvious that oil and gas company will like pollute nature more, but these companies really try hard. They put a lot of effort, they invest a lot of money in different social projects, I think. So that's why maybe they are able to somehow offset this damage, at least like they somehow may count it like that. But
making more force. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Vladlen, you had a question, please.
Well, I have not a question. I have a lot of questions. First of all, thank you very much for your presentation. It's really very optimistic. It's very interesting. And I would like to maybe clarify some things. First of all, I won't be asking about the difference between sustainability and ESG. Let's keep this question. I would like to know what you think of ESG ratings and ESG ratings agencies. You have a slide about them. Do you have that there are some issues with them? Maybe some problems that are connected with the previous question Irina asked.
Like, thank you for your question. I'm like, first of all, these agencies, they have really different methodology, and like some companies which may be like included in the top list in one rating, they may be excluded from it in another like rating. And so it's sometimes really hard to really understand like the real contribution or the real negative effects which this company may like impose. And also from one perspective, these ratings, they may be damaging because they just like put these companies and they show investors that you should invest here, and to other companies you like better not to support them. But how these companies will become better if they won't be supported? It's also like a problem, an issue?
That's a good question.
Could I ask one more question? Do we have time?
Only one.
Only one. Okay. I am amazed with your positive view on the prospects of ESG and sustainability in Russia. You have 4 pillars, but I would like to ask you, what is the most realistic scenario? Because 4 of them look like combination of different scenarios, and I don't think that they could be combined at the same time.
I think it's like depends on like more on companies, but if we talk in general, I may just maybe I think that it's more relevant now to just try to cut costs and to optimize them. So that's why maybe companies will try to put emphasis on such projects which brings really tangible results and which may like help them to just maybe not, if not become more profitable, but at least not to like lose even more money like in this situation. So I think like emphasis on energy efficiency and cutting costs will be like the more realistic scenario, like let's say.
I think that's the most optimistic scenario also, because that means that the sustainability strategy will be part of the main strategy, the organizational strategy, the business strategy. And I think that would be so great. Veronica, thank you so much. That was very interesting and very exciting. I really think we should take you to some conferences, professional conferences, just to switch the mood. And now we are, last but not the least, Ekaterina will speak about also very interesting topic. Ekaterina, are you ready?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Very interesting topic, because I also will be asking some questions about how can oil companies be sustainable or responsible, but I hope you will answer these questions with this question in your own speech. So take your word, please.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Ekaterina, and today I'd like to elaborate more on the issue of corporate social responsibility, but not in its traditional way on the examples of European, Russian, and Western companies, but to show how sustainable development is viewed in the countries of the Middle East, in particular in Saudi Arabian National Oil and Gas Company. So the next one, please. Here on the slide, you can see what products can be obtained from 1 barrel of crude oil. Of course, this diversity is awesome, but the question is of negative consequences for the economy, society, and the environment behind this excessive use of oil. From the graphs on the right, it's evident that without oil products, it is practically impossible to imagine the transport sector. So it accounts for more than 1/3 of global demand for oil. And given that developed countries are making attempts to begin the transition to renewable energy sources, the demand for oil and its products will grow at the expense of developing countries. Thus, the oil industry itself and its exporters will still be the driving force behind global economic growth. The next one. So why is the Middle East of particular importance among all oil-producing regions? So the prestige of the Middle Eastern countries is primarily due to their essential role in the oil market, although the region has significant natural gas reserves. Indeed, according to BP, the Middle East accounted for more than 30% of world oil production and around 50% of proven oil reserves. Its oil exports fell by 6.5% in 2020 due to the pandemic, but this didn't reduce the status of the largest oil exporters. And given the ubiquity of oil, it becomes apparent that oil production and refining have a direct and indirect impact on everything that surrounds us. And therefore, the concept of CSR comes to the fore. The next one. So today, CSR is becoming an integral part of every international company's ethics. There has been a significant increase in ethical codes of conduct and social accountability. And this trend can be traced not only among Russian, European, and Western companies, but also in companies in the Middle East, such as Saudi Aramco, National Iranian Oil Company, and Abu Dhabi, a national oil company. Undoubtedly, as long as oil plays the role of the main source of energy, the social responsibility of such companies must progress. So they should focus on certain areas of CSR, such as implementation of national, social, and environmental programs, as well as financing the development of local communities. So, and here Saudi Arabia succeeds. The next one. So Saudi Vision 2030 is a plan to achieve, so to say, new heights of sustainable economic development and to create diverse opportunities for citizens through oil revenues. So in a nutshell, the key goals here is to provide a better standard of living, to expand economy, and to improve communication channels between government entities, citizens, and the private sector. The next one. So apart from that, companies themselves are actively involved in improving the social component of Saudi society, such as Saudi Aramco. And here is a partial list of its initiatives. Just to begin with, the In-Kingdom Total Value Add program, which goals are to diversify the economy, to localize strategic industrial and economic sectors. So this program has become one of paramount importance within the Saudi vision. Moving on to the establishment of the King Abdulaziz World Culture Center. So it focuses on encouraging creativity, inspiring and empowering talented people. So the next one is the creation of centers for people with disabilities. So Saudi Aramco provides financial and technical support to rehabilitation centers and centers for people with special needs. And last but not least, the Vayed Entrepreneurship Center, which is created to invest and empower the most promising local entrepreneurs. And the next slide. So summing up, here are the models of CSR of different regions. And as you can see, the issue is that the Islamic model, which is also appropriate for the Middle Eastern countries, needs to be updated as soon as possible to achieve new results in terms of CSR. Perhaps it's the progress of these local oil and gas companies like Saudi Aramco that will ensure this development. So, and all in all, as climate change becomes more visible over time, it is extremely important to direct the attention of the world community, in particular oil companies like Saudi Aramco, to responsible practices. So a balance must be found between the opportunities for economic growth and the responsibilities that come with it. So thank you for your attention, and I will be glad to answer your questions if you have some.
Okay, thank you, Ekaterina. Now I will, before asking Ekaterina some questions, I will ask everyone to turn on your cameras so we can make a big one photo for our organizers. Okay, turn on your camera. Kirill, will you please also turn on your camera? Okay. 2 more seconds. 1, 2, 3, say cheese. Okay. Let me see if I have a photo. Yes, I have it. Thank you so much. So we can continue with questions to Ekaterina. Ekaterina, so my question is, as I've already said, CSR and sustainability in oil and gas companies is very contradictory. And as far as we can see from your speech, in Eastern companies, it is more like some religious, some charity programs. So my question is, do you think that oil and gas companies may be and can be sustainable? And what do they need to do for that?
So thank you for your question. So from my point of view, I will answer your question positively. And I firmly believe that oil and gas companies in Europe, in the USA, and also in the Middle East can be sustainable because they can't have enough revenue from the oil exports and from other stuff that is connected with the oil and gas production if they do not just align their practices with the ESG and sustainable development, because the society is striving to implement these practices, and that is why all the companies, no matter in what sphere they are operating, they should try making the world better, just for the society and for themselves.
And for the planet, what should they do for the planet? Just stop operating. Okay. Thank you for your opinion, Vladlen. Yeah, I see. You have a question.
Yes, thank you very much, Ekaterina, for your presentation. I would like to ask your opinion about sustainability and ESG agenda in Islamic oil companies, because it is pretty interesting that they, in some points, they are under construction. Why it is happening, in your opinion, and what prospects are?
So I believe that now the Middle Eastern countries, they can follow the traditions of the CSR roadmap, so to say, from European and Western companies. And if you just look through the report of the Saudi Aramco company, you will see that some of its ESG points can be traced also in the reports of European and Western companies. And that is why this will help to develop their own Middle Eastern Islamic model of CSR. And that is why they will be on the same level with the European and Western companies. So did I ask your question, answer your question?
The first part, yes. The second part, yes. But the first part, no. Why it is under construction by now? And is there any connection with the religion or maybe culture or maybe historical issues? Why?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So the roots of this, of course, we can just trace the history of Islamic model. So the main pillars of this model is based on Quran, Sunnah, and we can imagine just developing this model without these principles, because overall the Islamic world is too religious, and they can't just reject their principles because of state-of-the-art ESG European principles. So from my point of view, the optimal way here is just to combine the brand new principles of, for example, Western companies, the USA ones, and just to embed them rightly in the culture of Middle Eastern countries.
Just like banking.
Yeah. I thought pretty much the same. I thought that social responsibility and some charity issues are already integrated in the Islamic culture and Islamic religion, so that's there's no need to develop them synthetically or maybe in some kind of additional practices. Thank you for your presentation and answering questions.
Okay, that was last but not the least presentation in our session today. I think we've heard pretty much interesting points of view on sustainable practices and CSR practices in different industries and in different business blocks, business processes in marketing, in human resources management, in different industries and even in finance. So I think that was very interesting. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and for your attention. If anyone has to say something, maybe just to share opinion or point of view or any questions to experts and to speakers, then we have 10 more minutes. And if no, I think we can just wrap up and have a nice evening, Friday evening, and enjoy yourself.
I wanted to say that thank you, everyone. And nice to meet you, everyone. It was very interesting to listen to you. Enjoy the evening.
Yes, nice to meet everyone, our dear experts and our dear students. I have some word, I think, for our students. Please be encouraged by this session, by our experts. You see that sustainability is demanded, is required by employers, that it is this trend won't be decreased because it's not a trend. I think it's not some hype, as we say it. Sustainability is a need. Yes, we need to be sustainable just to survive. So please do follow your intention and do follow your intuition and just and do become good specialists, good professionals in sustainability. We'll be waiting for you in our companies, every one of us. Thank you so much. Dear expert, thank you for your time. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for your opinion. It's nice to know that we really are in line and we think the same, and we are very optimistic, as Veronica also showed that we are optimistic about our industry's future. It was very nice to hear from you. Thank you so much.